is a person who is dependent on rain-fed agriculture in a small plot of land. If the rainfall pattern changes, everything changes. It's as simple as that. And this is what's happening. So where is the main need for the adaptation? As Governor Salceda pointed out, as Dr. Rossellini pointed out, now the main need is right there at the local level with very, very specific inputs. I'll give you one example that I found recently in the last 2 months while traveling through the semi-arid regions of India. What they are really looking for are agro-meteorology stations at the village level, which gives them what will happen in the next 1 week, 1 month, in the next cropping season. Small stations like that. I'll give you some more quotes from those travels in the semi-arid regions of India. And I'll also, let me show you very quickly, because we don't have time, what people are doing at the ground level. Now, this is an example of what an NGO worker at the ground level has been doing in Maharashtra, in the area near Mumbai, near Pune actually. Now, this is what people do. Now, what my strong feeling in this whole matter is that we are aware of this, we know this, we do this on the ground. Our problem is that we are not scaling up enough. We are not being able to send this message outside a room or a collection of people like this as have gathered here. Far too often we are preaching to the converted. Far too often we are unable to move this, scale it up. The inability to scale up is a problem that I've been watching in this sector for many, many years. Surendra showed us a wonderful example of cooking stoves, good cooking stoves yesterday in a village near Lucknow in India. Now, as a journalist, I've been covering examples of clean cooking stoves in India for over 25 years. And my only worry is, why does it not happen everywhere? We have a scaling up problem. We have a problem of lack of ground level planning. The problem with adaptation mainstreaming is that NGOs are there on the ground, they're talking to people, they are doing what they can at their project level, but there are not enough NGOs to cover every village in the world. So there is a scaling up issue here. We have to see how do we scale this up. The other problem that they face when they come up with these ideas, with these new ideas on adaptation, how to mainstream it, is that at the local level government functionaries with which people have to interact on a day-to-day basis, there is huge inertia there. So it's not there. There is a strong need for training local level government functionaries for adaptation, how to mainstream that into their day-to-day thing. I'm talking about very small practical things, like asking the local agricultural university to do more research on drought-tolerant varieties of rice or wheat, or salt-tolerant varieties of rice or wheat. That photograph I showed you at the mouth of the Ganges, that area is now surviving only because there was some talk and some research done on salt-tolerant varieties of rice. That's how they're managing to survive, because the sea is going up again and again. Okay, I think I've exceeded my quota of time, and I know that hopefully I've managed to provoke a debate. I'll be very glad to answer questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jyoti. Yes, thank you. And yes, they are all exceeding their time. It seems to be endemic here. So, I hope the next speaker will try to keep to his 3 minutes, and the speaker after that, and the speaker after that, because we have to allow the debate for yourselves to contribute here as well. Ancha, Srinivasan is the Senior Climate Change Specialist at the Asian Development Bank, the ADB, based in the Philippines, in Manila, of course. Ancha is a Senior Climate Change Specialist of the Southeast Asia Department at the ADB. Prior to joining them, he was a principal researcher and manager of the Climate Policy Project at the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, the IGES, an organization we're all very aware of, in Japan. His research focused on international cooperation on climate change, including adaptation, market mechanisms, and co-benefits of climate change policies. Dr. Srinivasan has received many awards and honors and serves as a member of the editorial boards of several scientific journals. His name has been listed in publications such as Who's Who in the World, would you believe, and Who's Who in Science and Engineering since 1999. He maintains it. He's edited 6 books, well, no wonder he's there. He's edited 6 books, authored over 80 publications, and presented more than 100 times at national and international conferences, and as of now it's 101. Ansha, please.
Thank you for that long introduction. I mean, sorry that I did not know that I only thought that it is only just to get to know me, but I didn't know that you will read out everything. That
well, it's also deducted from your 3 minutes, just anyway. So you know.
Okay. I mean, first of all, I wish to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity. I will just, first of all, appreciate Governor Salsidap to point out various interesting and thought-provoking questions. But it's really difficult to answer all the 8 sets of questions here in 3 minutes. I will just focus on 2. One is basically, we all know that adaptation is very site-specific. He posed a question whether the local governments especially are prepared for mainstreaming adaptation into local development planning. I think with the exceptions such as Albay province, which he is heading, I think most local governments are still, unable to understand or even approach towards the mainstreaming adaptation in development planning. So there are many challenges. I think the adaptation forum or network or platform that we are all part of, I think has more responsibility in meeting those challenges. So the challenges relate to the awareness of the issue of mainstreaming itself and the information necessary for effective mainstreaming, and also what type of capacities, whether it is financial or technical or institutional capacities, how can we really build them at local level? That is the biggest challenge. Again, I think using the lessons learned through this adaptation platform, I think over time we have reasonable confidence that that capacity can be built up by looking at the examples from Albay province and others. And we also must understand at a local level, there are often many competing priorities. Climate change is not the main issue for them. Perhaps education, perhaps sanitation, perhaps diseases. So how do we really link those issues with this issue? That is the most important. I think that is where the local governments need a lot of support from all organizations. And sometimes in some countries, especially some institutional structures, it was already pointed out, there is a high inertia. So either in terms of land tenure rights or in terms of even freedom of information, access to information at local level, there are many restrictions that impede successful adaptation at local level. So I think there are many challenges, but this is where I think the adaptation forum, scientific community, donor community, everybody needs to engage in as effectively as possible and to give the voice to that most vulnerable. And of course, I think in the morning summary, Stuart has already summarized yesterday's discussions, most of these challenges and how we address in various ways, horizontal, vertical integration and those things have already been pointed out. I will not go into those details. Another thing I wanted to mention is that